Yo, what's going on? Good morning, everybody. A little bit of a late start. Said I wasn't going streaming. Here I am. Let me send the link out real quick. Yo, what's going on? Good morning. So if you've been in the Discord, you know it's one of the key things I'm watching today, which is Apple. Clearly, you guys can see we're starting to slip. Not really, but we did come down overnight, so that's not great. The thesis was stay above 199.25, which would potentially have that upside scenario. But if that level was lost, definitely not a good place to be long below this level. So I did mention getting short Monday at the open. That's been working out really well. And like I said, the test here today is below 199.25 and under. We'll see new lows, but if they do reclaim that level, the bullish potential is still a path here. So with that being said, assuming markets are going to hold, keyword assuming, don't assume anything, wait for the ranges to play out. Maybe buying the dip on semis might not be a terrible idea. And again, probably not going to do it myself. I also mentioned there was a divergence on SOXS versus NVIDIA. So if I'm not mistaken, this has to be trading a little higher than where we're currently at. We did have this push here, which looks great. But there is a divergence on NVIDIA and AVGO versus SOXS. So it has to take care of itself in one of two ways. Either SOXS is about to come retest this wick low on a bounce from semis, or semis are about to give us this leg down where we can have this happen. Don't know how high, but we'll have a breakout on SOXS. So that's a divergence right now. Why do I say divergence? Because overnight action, we're down maybe like, what was it? don't know the numbers, maybe between 6 to 8% on the semis, while that's roughly what we did overnight um, on success. So those numbers aren't aligning. Something's not adding up here. But the key thing to watch, like I said, it's gonna be Apple. Apple below 199.25. I'd refrain from being long. We'll probably see lower price action from here. But technically these are buyable dips. If you guys have been here the whole week, you know this is kind of what we've been planning for. We said any dip into here on SPY would maybe be viable with a pullback on Apple back into the gap, which is literally where we are now. So test here on Apple. This is the clearest test right at the open, 199.25. You have a clear, precise level. SPY, low, previous day low. So that's going to be something to watch that I mentioned in the Discord. Previous day low, it's like, let's say 532.50. As long as we're below that, like I said, be careful being long. And I did mention getting long maybe JDST, GDXD, essentially just gold inverse trades. And these have a lot of potential. Even the stock can do really well. So this is what I'm aiming for. If I get that beautiful, don't need the whole move, but I do like stock here myself. Super cheap, 360 a share. Oh yeah, let me get some. JDST is a little more expensive, but still super good prices. You could also get a double on this one probably, roughly, but we'll see what we get here. If you already have gold shorts, or you rather short gold itself, that's cool. Look at this open gap. I'm loading up today heavy, so I've been adding on this one. This is probably going to be one of my biggest trades by size. Hopefully it pays. If not, it's going to definitely cost me. But gold's one of the trades I plan on taking for sure today. So assuming Apple gets the breakdown, SPY breaks down, everything stays below bearish triggers, GLD is going to be a really nice trade. You have some type of a flag here, so don't really want to trade too much up here. I'm going to probably load some swings, add to the swings, and then I'll also try scalping, not 0DT, which we do have today. There's some Wednesday expiration contracts on gold, but I'm not doing that. I'll probably do add to the swings here, and then maybe I'll consider end of month contracts. I'll see. Gotta check prices, see which one makes the most sense, bang for your buck, but I definitely don't want anything shorter dated where the risk is a little too risky. 300, $5. About a $5 downside potential for the shorter time frame scalps. Not bad. Maybe I'll grab some 24. What is that? The Friday ones? 24? Is that no 25? So I'll try grabbing some contracts out to next week. Is that next week? Is that 2 weeks out now? It's 2 weeks out now. No, it is next week. Yeah, so I'm gonna grab some contracts out to next Friday for maybe like 305 or 300 depending the price, and then I'm gonna add to the swings as well. As for scalps, I'm probably not gonna take scalps unless we get tactical triggers below, and even then I'm probably gonna be busy managing a bunch of other stuff, so maybe I'll just pass on the scalps overall on gold. I do have some pending orders on forex, so that's why I'm also like maybe not. But if you do want to actively trade it on the faster side, that's fine. But like I said, I'd much rather just add to the swings. Next week is cool for 305, 300 maybe. And then for the swings, I probably wouldn't go under 290. Netflix, nice little pullback here. I regret not selling pre-mon yesterday, but it is what it is. Fuck it. So Apple, like I said, 199.25 level to watch. We have 10 minutes till the open. If you guys got questions about anything, let me know right now. But just to keep it simple, I'd probably refrain from trying to buy anything today. The easier trade is going to be maybe the shorts key again, assuming Apple stays below these levels. If at any point it does start reclaiming levels, then the sells are going to be invalid. But your best bet would be shorting something that is up on the day pre-market. Like PM, I know isn't going to be amazing, but let's take a look. Actually, that's not bad. Well, that's really good. So PM is actually back into all-time high-ish. So if this flips back below 161, that might be an okay sell. CVX is up pre-market, but definitely not looking at that. Oh, that's nasty. When was this? Yeah, so if the markets do break out from here, assuming Apple holds levels and pushes higher, you might see a squeeze on gold. Sorry, not gold, squeeze on oil. But for now, the thesis remains the same. Prefer shorts over longs, just pointing that out. Oil hasn't really moved up. T-Mobile also looks decent here. Here coming back into all-time high resistance, you have some targets slightly higher, but if at any point we do start flipping below, let's say 267.5, that's going to be potentially a nice sell on T-Mobile. The real area you want to see lost is the previous day high around 265, but you know, we're trading up here, so you want to get maybe a tactical entry from up here on a flip if possible. But like I said, everything is going to depend on Apple. Costco still has the open gaps above, so if I had to guess, maybe Apple does bounce for the slight push higher, close gaps, close gaps, and then come down. So let's see. This is the level to watch again. That 199.25. That's all I care about for the open. And UVXY coming into previous day high here. So note that. Where's SPY? Previous day low on SPY is, we're below previous day low on SPY, right? So this black line is previous day low. We're below it on SPY, but we're still below the previous day high on UVXY, which doesn't really make sense. These should be trading in sync, meaning if this is at previous day low, this should be at previous day high, but this is below, and this is below its previous day low, this is below its previous day high, so that doesn't really make sense. Theoretically, we should be trading higher on UVXY. So if you're short, be careful if we breach back above this level. And then if you are short, you want to see VXY get above this and push higher. And then if you're taking the long side, you want to see UVXY break down, and you want to see SPY come back and reclaim that 532.50. And then Apple, you want to see above that 199.25. So again, you have super tactical levels. Whether you want to take the longs or the shorts, you have these criteria to be met. I'm gonna wait at the open, but it looks like they're not gonna bounce. Again, I'm assuming here, but just based off the action here pre-market, unless Apple has, you know, some nice pop right at the open, maybe not. So we'll see what happens. And like I said, if you do want to short, please don't short the names that already fell overnight, like semis. You're much better off taking names that are still at the highs. Like I said, T-Mobile still at near highs. PM looks okay. I would probably rather take T-Mobile over PM. Oh, look at that sell. Nice. So yeah, I probably would not take Apple. If you took Apple Monday or whenever, that's fine. But shorting here at the lows is probably a mistake. SPY still holding supports here, so that's interesting. SPY did not make new lows like Apple here. I'm gonna be patient and open, but like I said, if you do want to force the sells, because you are forcing them here, you're much better off taking it on a name like T-Mobile. I mean, yes, it's higher, but I'm pointing out the divergence in price. Price isn't really aligning here. But yes, UVXY is a little higher. Let's see. It doesn't have to be T-Mobile, and again, that's dependent on Apple. Assuming Apple's not going to reclaim it. If it reclaims it, those comments are invalidated. But I'm just saying the idea is to short something that is higher, not something that is lower. It doesn't have to be T-Mobile. I'm just giving an example of names that are still a lot higher than, you know, shorting something into the lows. The best thing to do is probably be patient first couple minutes here at open, see which way they want to break. If you are short overnight on semis, I definitely book profits. You want to hold it to each his own, but let's say we do pop right off the open, you're gonna end up missing out on some premiums. Like I said, AVGO is right into potential support here, so if they hold these levels, I don't see why this is not potential scenario back to EQ, and then from EQ see if they can go higher. That's about a $5 squeeze, and I'm not telling anyone to go long. Like, don't take that as a comment to go long. Again, everything depends on Apple. I just want you guys to be, if you are short, which I don't think anyone was on semis, and then everyone probably sold out of Success, which isn't even up much. Let's see, has it moved up more? Barely. So see, Success is now pushing into the highs, which kind of makes more sense. But regardless, AVGO is below its lows from oh no, actually no, that does make sense now. Yeah, all right, that's making sense now. So coming into these highs, the action is lining a little better now in Success. I said I wanted to see it 26 plus, or I think I said 27. I think it was 27. Let me double check. Where do I have that at? Yeah, 27 plus. So I don't think that's resolved yet on Success. For the divergence to take care of itself, we need to see 27 plus on Success. So if we get that here, then okay, divergence is fixed, and we can maybe see the true move. Let's see. But again, you're better off shorting something still at the highs if that's something you're gonna try. And if you want to try the longs, I do it if Apple gets above 199.25. If not, definitely do not be long anything. SPY. Now SPY trying to flip here. So if SPY loses the support right here, right at open, watch that. That's going to be a potential trigger to the downside if SPY drops below here. Let's see, 1 minute to open. Good luck. I'm probably going to go straight for... Oh shit, I don't have my other charts up. Look at that bounce on Apple, immediately back above 199.25 right off the rip, so careful here. Let's see which side they stay on. Oof. Bitcoin slipping a little bit right here. What I tell y'all? So my bad, I'm doing shit on my part myself, but look at that massive pop on Apple right off the rip. And if they hold above that 199.25 and trigger higher, you guys know the targets. Not saying we go in here, they still not out the woods, but I shared the setup with y'all, so let's see here. They've managed to hold. There's a 45-minute candle here. Still plenty of time on the clock. You have your highs on the range, you have your lows on the range. Let me move this over full screen. You have your, we already got the bounce. That's done. Let's get that out the way. You have your high, you have your low, right? You're not doing nothing between here. And then you have an even bigger range here. So within this big box, you don't want to do too much. You can come to the highs, you can come to the lows, and they still don't trigger anything. Above, you get that. Below, you get this. Within the zone, just be careful. Nice little pullback here. Let's see what's up. My bad, I know I'm not making too many comments. I'm doing some stuff. Trying to get filled on some orders. If I get filled right here, I'll send them on the Discord. Oh, look at that move on McDonald's. Look at that bounce on SPY. SPY is now above 532.50, so that was a bullish trigger. You need to get back below 532.50 at this point if you're trying to short. And then you have this wick to the highs on Apple and this to the lows. Let's see what develops from this range, but again, above these levels, you're technically bullish. Apple, you're a couple pennies below the trigger, but SPY is above that 532.50. All right, so let's see. I'm still waiting for these ranges to develop to see what's gonna happen. What's gonna happen here on the megas? But I did nibble small size on the GOD trades I said I would. So I got filled. Let me send these in the Discord real quick. $5 possible upside. Yes, all semis have potential upside, which they kind of just delivered right now on that 12-minute candle. So buying at these highs might be a mistake. Just be careful if you're chasing. The downside might not be done yet. All right, so let's send these out real quick. GOD 516 300 put. These are up a tiny bit, not really, but they're still solid. GOD. These are thought, depending the date, some are more tactical than others. 525. So these are all up already. I just sent them out 30 up a bit. All right, so Apple. All right, I'm back. Focus on the stream. We got Apple back below 199.25. We got SPY coming down, retesting that 532.50. So this is gonna be your level to watch on SPY. Back below 532.50. You have a bearish flip on the markets, and then Apple is trying to reclaim and hold that 199.25, but it's having a little bit of a struggle. So back above there, and then SPY as long as it's above here, you're good. But if we do start getting those flips, you're gonna see probably more selling pressure, and Netflix is leading to the downside here a little bit. Still hasn't taken out its lows, but nice selling pressure here. So again, I did not engage Netflix myself. I did want to look really good levels wise, just with the ER and the high IV. Rather not. I was gonna try selling some calls on it yesterday. Didn't get filled, and then just ended up passing on the trade. I'm not doing it here, so fuck it. It is what it is. Let's check T-Mobile. Nice flip below 266. If it stays below that 266 level, we can see some nice selling pressure on I was gonna say Netflix, on T-Mobile. And this one has like two. Yeah, that would be nasty. 231 targets. We have earnings next week. So if anyone is planning to take a trade on T-Mobile, your best bet is taking a swing. If you want to grab some short dated, that's cool. But I would probably want to do something that covers earnings, maybe a week or two after earnings if possible, or at least earnings. But definitely want to grab time after. That can be a nice potential move to the downside. About $30 move, over $30 move to the downside from these levels. And again, earnings is on the 24th next week, I believe. I sent that one in the Discord, the T-Mobile short idea. Let's check prices. Yeah, it's not that bad. Yeah, the T-Mobile shorts aren't priced too bad. You can go out to May 16th if you really wanted to and pay like never mind, I see the issue. The spreads are a little wide. Let me see if I can find something with the tighter spread. Not really. Alright, that's fine. I would probably go out to like May 16th. You got 30 days on the clock, covers earnings 2 weeks after. The 230 is our target. So I think 230 strike is too low. 230s are priced at 110 at the bid. 240s 191 at the bid, 250s 330 at the bid, and 260 540 at the bid. The 260 for 540 is way too expensive. Try to do what I told you guys. You never really want to pay more premium up front than what your strike is. So the 250, you paid 330 at the bid. That doesn't seem too bad. 240 is 191. So in my opinion, you're better off paying the extra, dollar 50 or whatever it is, and the cost difference between 240 and 250, because it's a whole $10 difference on strike. So pay the extra $1.50 ish, whatever it is, up front now, and you have the potential of making an extra dollars on top. That's probably what I would take. I get it, those are a little more expensive. If you want to buy the lower strikes, that's cool. Just based off what I'm seeing on the chain, ideally what I think makes the most sense, best bang for your buck, levels work out, you have enough time, etc., is going to be those 250s for May 16th. And again, if you want to go 240, I guess you can. Just doesn't really make sense. Just pay the extra 150 bucks. Let me send that one. Where is it? 516. 250 puts at. Alright, so I just sent that one in the Discord. Apple now back below 199.25, and SPY also below that 532.50 level we discussed. So unless they manage to reclaim these levels rather quickly, I would assume we're going to head much lower. Netflix also trying to break down here. So that T-Mobile trade is really enticing in my opinion. Risk to reward seems feasible, really nice in my opinion. Again, if you want to go lower, but you're leaving a lot of money on the table just for not paying the extra 100 bucks up front here, which is a mistake in my opinion, but we'll see. Dollars, oh, actually that's interesting. We got something going on with the dollar right now, so be careful. What is that, bro? Does it show on TLT? No, it doesn't. It's only on USD CAD. Yeah, not sure what's going on with the dollar right now, but USD CAD is bugging. Look at this candle. So be careful, don't know what that's about. Generally, if dollar's going down, the market's gonna go up. But this is just an unusual move because the GJ is also coming down, SPX coming down, Bitcoin coming down, just unusual moves here. Let's see how this unravels. But I'm keeping an eye on this on a separate screen. If SPY gives up these lows at 531.35, it's going to be a major development here. So that's the next progress checkpoint for the bears I want to see. Apple's already below what we wanted. SPY also technically below, but a new low would be nice progress. And I'm telling you guys, this move on dollar is really unusual. Am I surprised? No, just because it's a dollar. But Regardless, very unusual move here. Now SPX coming to test these lows. Moment of truth here. Do these lows hold and we bounce, or is this going to be the structure shift on the higher time frame? Apple's already at lows. Let's see what they do here. Next 3 minutes are going to be critical. SPY, small bounce off the lows, Apple off the lows. Let's see if they manage to break out here. Anyone load any of the gold swings or T-Mobile? T-Mobile just super wide spread. Like I said, be careful. If you don't know what a spread is, you really gotta do some research. But essentially, you want to pay at bid or below mid at least on that trade. It's about $100 spread. So if you don't know what you're doing, you immediately pay at the ask or market order or whatever you guys are accustomed to. Right off the bat, as soon as you get filled, you're losing on that trade. So if you manage to get filled on wide spreads closer to the bid or below bid on a move in your favor, then you'll be immediately green because it shows the price at mid versus you buy at ask, and the mid price is current price essentially, so you're theoretically down at open. Just be careful with that. Look at Netflix, 9 selling pressure. I don't even want to check the contracts. It's cool. Should have sold the spreads yesterday. It is what it is. Even today I might have gotten okay premiums, but I think yesterday was probably the optimal trade on these pops. It is what it is. And then Apple, new lows. So can SPY also put in new lows here? That would be great. If SPY can't put in new lows, then be careful. But so far so good if you're short. And then as for gold bounced off of 3.3k, so I'm watching that. Do we get back below 3.3k or do they stay above? Bounce here on SPY. SPY never gave up the lows, and Apple is now trying to I wouldn't really say it's trying to bounce, but it's trying to hold the floors rather. But let's see if SPY puts in new lows versus a bounce here. So you can clearly see new lows on Apple has not, oh, never mind, just happened. Cool. So if you close below these levels, then you have really clean traffic to the downside. If only have money for one, which one is a better trade in your opinion? If you're swinging or scalping, I'm assuming you're gonna swing it, right? If you're gonna swing it, they're both really good. The only problem with T-Mobile is T-Mobile has earnings. T-Mobile has earnings next week. That's probably the only issue. And then it's also a lot harder to trade. Not that it's harder to trade, it's just the spreads are a lot wider. So if I had to pick one, I'd probably go with GLD. Not that I like to set up any better or anything like that. It's just you have much wider spreads on T-Mobile, less liquid, has earnings. So you have a lot of potential problems with this one where gold is a little cleaner. But they're both good, honestly. Like if you tell me to pick one because I think one's gonna Can one pay more than the other? It's hard to say. Honestly, just go with gold. Being honest with you, that's what I do. T-Mobile has too many potential conflicts. Ooh, nice drop here on SPY. So again, so far so good. AVGO pop. If you took that little dip by here, you're back at that 175 we discussed pre-market, but clearly getting rejected off that. So let's see if they come down and lose the lows. If they get back under 170, there's gonna be major problems for the bulls here. And dollar's now starting to bounce. Bitcoin coming down a bit. Let's see what happens here. Alright, now we're getting solid breaks lower across the board. We have the 1618 and Apple at 196.50, which we just sliced under. Alright, let's zoom out just so you guys get a little bit of context of where we really at. So Apple now filling the wicks from pre-market. Remember the zone I said this morning, hey, you don't really want to do anything inside of this massive zone? Well, you just got to the bottom range of it and you're testing it. Are we gonna hold these lows here and push higher, or are they gonna break below? So the breakdown is a potential here, like we discussed pre-market. Breakdown versus breakout. You're still technically within this box, not really. I'll bring this down a tiny bit, but if you reclaim and hold this yellow box, you have the potential of moving back up, right? Assuming if we stay below this yellow zone, then we're gonna get that next leg down that we drew out. But if here you start, you know, holding these levels, you have the potential to come back up here. So let's watch for a reaction here at these levels and see if they manage to reclaim this yellow zone we just lost. If they do reclaim it, I'd be careful if you're short, and if you were, consider booking fast profits. If you were scalping, if you have swings or something you can sit on a bit longer and manage differently, that's cool. But for the fast trades, if you're into these lows here and they reclaim and hold above, careful remaining short. Nice slow selling here now on semis. Success is currently lower than UVXY, so hopefully semis can come all the way down. I'm telling you guys, if semis come down and lose their lows, that's major bad news. Right now, semis are doing okay off these lows because they had already fallen more overnight. But let's see what happens here. So Apple bounce versus semi breakdown. Small bounces on SPY and Apple here. Let's see. So again, next few minutes are going to be critical here. Does Apple reclaim its floor and AVGO stop slipping? SPY bouncing a little bit here. So okay progress so far, but again, we need to reclaim levels on Apple, and AVGO needs to, you know, get a little sturdy here. All right, so I just got, or I'm about to get filled on an order on gold for Forex. I had pending sell limits on a wick fill, which we're about to target and fill right now. So technically, if anyone wants to short this pop at these highs on gold, it's not a terrible trade. The only thing I will tell you is you have the potential setup of Apple, SPY, and everything else rallying, which would not necessarily be in your favor. If you want the sales to work out, you need these levels to be lost and new levels across the board. So just be mindful, but I am watching gold here myself into the overnight highs we put in. well, I'm watching, but I also have pending limits on Forex. And then as for gold, GLD itself, if you want to take a trade on it at those highs to each his own, I'm probably not adding to the swings. At least not yet. They're okay. No point in adding here in my opinion. But if you're not in yet, it's not a bad entry. Let's see Apple here. If we can stay below this level. And then AVGO small reds here. So let's see if we can break down. Bro, no way they're not gonna fill me. They came like a couple pips from my entry and now they're reversing. Let's see if they fill it. Nice flip here on SPY. Let's see if it gives up the lows once more. And AVGO is starting to slip below this area here. Let's see if Apple does the same. T-Mobile, nice little flip below that 266 level. So if anyone got in on that swing for May, I think that's going to be a really nice trade for T-Mobile. Small slip on Apple. Let's see what it does here. I'm a little more active with my trades today, so that's why I'm a little more quiet. Let's see what happens here on Apple. And again, if we stay below this level, we're probably about to get a next leg down. I just got filled on gold, by the way. So good soup, good soup, good soup. I'm gonna choose here on gold. Let's see. I don't even have gold up, huh? Let's bring it up. Get rid of sock size. So basically I shorted into this overnight high here. Looking for a market structure shift back below that level and then a breach of 3.3k. So I'm watching this, but I'm really basing it off of the action on XAU for the Forex side. So again, shorting these highs into the overnight London session high, that's fine. But theoretically, what you really want to see is a flip back below 3.3k. Let's see what happens here on AVGO. Still trying to hold this level. Apple now currently below, SPY below. So see if we see some strength in the markets to reclaim some of these levels, or we're going to get a next leg down. And T-Mobile still, you know, not a bad entry, flagging here at the highs. If anyone has not taken that May trade that covers earnings, I think that's going to be a really good trade at a really good price here. really good entry on the levels, price, covers earnings, etc. So keep an eye on that one. If you haven't taken it, not a bad trade. Just like I said, be mindful with the spread. Let's see what gold does here. So AVGO looks like it's gonna try to put in a new low here. That's okay if you're short. And then Apple still just kind of sitting here at the lows, SPY sitting at the lows. So let's see what develops here. Small bounce on Netflix. Did put in new lows though. Yeah, if I had to guess blindly, we can head lower from here, but I'm not gonna force anything. Let's see what happens. It's 373 for T-Mobile. What is that? The bid, the ask, the last, the mid? Let me check. If you could get in at 373, that's not bad. That trade has really good potential, trust me. Like if you, so the lows are what, like 231? Do the math. You're buying the 250. So you're making about potential 20 bucks on that trade. You're paying about 350 up front. Even if you pay 4, you're paying 4 up front when you can make 2, maybe even more. That doesn't seem that bad. And I'm saying 2 20, like 2K, not 2 for 4. That don't make, excuse me, that don't make sense. But assuming we are gonna break down from here, like I said, that may for those prices you're saying, if you could get in at 373, that's not bad, bro. Just again, this is a market dependent trade. If the markets do rally from here at these levels, then T-Mobile can potentially do the same and break out to new highs. So assuming the market's going to move lower from here, that T-Mobile trade is really good. And even if the market doesn't necessarily move lower from here, you still have earnings next week, which could be a major catalyst to the downside, in my opinion. So I think that's a decent trade. Just like I said, careful with the spread. It's 100 bucks wide. Yes, Arshki, woke up green. GLD puts not put in. Or just wait, bro. GLD trade, I'm telling y'all, when it moves, it's gonna move fast. So the swings, I think, are the best bet here. You don't want to waste money on the short-term trades, like I've told y'all. You're better off loading swings, and I just added to the swings here at really good prices, like really good. Even on, so surprisingly, you know what's funny? I don't know if any of you actually loaded gold or not, but this entire rally up, we've been rallying the whole day, right? Well, not really. We had the small drop at open, and then after that, we've had this entire rally. Throughout this entire rally, the premium of my puts for May is still green. They have not dropped, even though I entered, you know, here or wherever. So how are we trading a lot higher than where I entered, and my puts are green? That doesn't make sense. There's a reason those put premiums are holding up. So like I said, if you want to load any of them, I shared them in the Discord, but I think those are going to be some really good quality swings. Netflix now trying to reclaim levels. So test here on Netflix, retesting this. Do we come back down versus a breakout? And then you also have Apple trying to reclaim levels. So tests across the board here. AVGO bounced, Apple trying to reclaim. So let's see what happens here next 3 minutes. And then T-Mobile trying to come down a bit. Yo, I hadn't even looked at Berkshire, not gonna lie. Till right now that fucking I saw Pilo's comment. Yo, bro, your swings are about to be in the money, and you were like, "Fuck, they're kind of far." Yeah, right. You about to be in the money, bro. So that was a good call out on your end. You were like, "Oh, so cool. You got yourself in a swing. You about to be in the money. I'm sure you green as fuck on it." So that was fire. And I didn't tell Pilo, hey, Pilo, go by this strike, this state, like, bro, or like that's him. Like he went snake the chain. He's like, all right, well we got targets here. This is where we at. This is what the premium's at. And like that was all him. But I'm telling you guys, understanding what you're buying, how to buy it, when to buy it, what to pay. That's what I want to teach y'all. If y'all know how to do that on your own, you can do what Pilo did. Like I didn't specifically tell him what to buy. He bought something he liked, and now he's green. So that's what I want y'all to do, to be able to find what you like yourself. You don't have to take what I like. You might like a different strike or whatever. But yeah, Berkshire's real cool. So yesterday I was a little butthurt. I didn't get my fills at the close. Now I'm not. Fuck it. Even the original 530 I issued for the weeklies. What was that on Monday? I'm pretty sure it was Monday. Yeah, because I was down yesterday. Yeah, the 530s that I left as runners from Monday were red yesterday. Now those are not stupid green. They're about 82%, but that's still fire from being down. So yeah, if you took Berkshire yesterday, you're really green, and then if you took it Monday, you're still green. So not bad. And McDonald's hasn't really dropped much more. We've been trading around the same levels as yesterday. Let's see if we can get new lows on that. We are getting a small bounce here on Apple back above support levels, so careful guys. If short. If you want to take the longs above that level, to each his own. Technically the trade is viable, I guess. Not sure I'd want to force it myself. But this is a level to watch here for for Apple. But keep in mind, this is the real true level we were watching pre-market, 199.25. So Apple still has a lot of work cut out ahead of itself just to get back at where we started the day. And then as for SPY, it's still below that 532.50 level. So same comments. Let's see if it can make its way back up there. Fuck, these are spiking, bro. I'm about to get filled. Fuck it. Have you taken... Oh, you only had one, huh? I was gonna ask you if you took some off already. That's crazy, gang. Wasn't I think Tone was in that shit, nah? Tone was in Berkshire and this fool sold that shit for a break even. That's crazy. Oh, bet. Yeah, so I just took some off, fuck it. On the weeklies. I wasn't risk free yet. The one that low-key has me a little butthurt right now is McDonald's, bro. Let's see what's happening here. Netflix back above levels. Be really careful if SPY gets back above this 531.30. We can have something similar to what Netflix just did, little pop to the upside, and that's still okay. The real issue is when we get above 532.50. So for now, if SPY wants to pop up into these levels, I'm not too I'm concerned definitely, but I'm not out the trades yet. If we do get above that 532.50, then definitely at that point I would say your sales are going to start getting invalidated. And then Apple's starting to slip a little bit here again. But as long as we're above this yellow box, similar comments, be careful being short. We need to lose this level, stay below to be to get paid out more on those sales. If you haven't shorted McDonald's, I'm not telling you guys to short it here, but that one also hasn't moved much. It's down a couple dollars off the highs, but the premiums aren't up too much. That one has potential as well. Yeah, so Rosana, the one from Monday is up 60%, and again, that was in drawdown. If you would have taken the ad yesterday, those are up even more. So Monday's still green despite it going against us for a little bit on Tuesday. And then if you added on that pop on Tuesday, those are the ones that are really, really green. But yeah, Monday set green here, so that's pretty cool. And then Apple slipping here. Come on, gold, don't play with me, bro. I got like okay size on gold right now. Oh shit, I forgot to check on the Forex trades. I got filled on Forex too. Ooh, those are getting paid now. Fuck yeah. I literally got filled on the wick fill at the highs for my entry. That's why I love Forex, bro. It's way easier than options to trade. You could literally just drag and drop where you want to enter and exit your trades. If you want to take partials, it's a lot easier to scale in and out of trades. Just trust. Forex is cool. It's like futures. If y'all never traded futures, actually, I don't know. I was gonna recommend it to y'all, but no. If you're barely learning, fuck no. Stick to whatever you're doing, and then later, once you get better, move to futures and Forex. It's a little harder, not gonna lie. It's easier in the aspect of like managing trades and executing. It's harder in the aspect that shit moves quicker and you can make or lose money faster. So nice reversals here. Berkshire new lows. Let's see if T-Mobile starting to slip here. Barely, but I'll take it. Progress. Any progress is cool. Again, I'm telling you guys, don't sleep on that T-Mobile. If you slept on Berkshire yesterday, like, it is what it is. You didn't get the entry. Fuck it. We already paid down here. Don't chase down here. Like I said, take a better trade with the name that's still at the highs. And if you took that on T-Mobile, I'm telling you guys, this trade has so much potential. You can get paid out, really well on that. But to each his own. Let's see what happens. Do we get new lows on SPY here? Yeah, McDonald's, come on, bro. What are you doing? You're going the wrong way. Look at T-Mobile. Yes, Sirski. If anybody took that, you officially getting paid here. I haven't checked premiums, but that's a nice little drop. And I'm telling you, it's a swing, so I'm not too concerned on the intraday comments on the action on T-Mobile. I plan on holding that. It covers earnings and a couple weeks after that. So I think that one can be a bag. Trust. I get it. You guys are starting a small account, so it's like fuck, $300. That's a big chunk of my account. Just kind of hard to take those swings. But realistically, you want to be buying high quality trades, which are going to be a little more expensive. You guys are accustomed to cheap shit, 0 DTs, which you can make money on. It's just a lot harder. I'd much rather take a high quality, high probability trade. 20% on gold so far from today, and what strike or what did you take? Look at T-Mobile. Nobody took T-Mobile, huh? I already know I'm gonna be crying because I'm gonna have to celebrate solo in a week or two. You're gonna be like, fuck, I slept on T-Mobile, bro. At least one person got to be in T-Mobile with me. 421. So that one's gonna be somewhat of a scalp. So just be careful. Again, I'd much rather y'all take the swings. So if you took the swings, that's great. It's a lot less stressful. You can just kind of relax, let the work take care of itself. Those 421s are good. You can get paid. I like them. But that's one of the more aggressive trades. That's why I put it all the way at the bottom. Then I put the ones with more time on top, because I'd much rather you guys take those. So if you took that, that's fine. I like the trade. Just again, you need to be a lot more tactical, and you need to get paid out a lot quicker. So you need the breakdown here to get paid out on those. If you sit on them a little too long, any pop higher or any move against you, since you have a much shorter date on the clock, it's going to cost you. It can also pay you a lot more if we drop them. So that's why I did a little mix of both. But yeah, that's going to be more of a tactical scalp. Not necessarily a scalp, because you can sit on it for a bit. But yeah, you got to be more tactical with that one. So it's cool. Well, I mean, that's why I told y'all it has a wide ass spread. If you got in earlier, when I told y'all to get in up here, it's a lot easier to get in on upticks. So when you have upticks and you set your orders at bid wherever, it's easier to get filled. Versus if you have your orders, here on these upticks or whatever, and you're trying to place these orders after we already did that and we're coming down, you're not gonna get filled. You gotta place the orders at bid or wherever you want to place them beforehand, and then on the upticks is where you get filled. So generally, I get it, that's when you're scared to enter, but that's how you should be entering. On the upticks, enter at the lows or the bids, and then when you're selling, you want to sell at the lows for the high. If you didn't get filled, it's fine. Let me check premiums. I'm not sure if I'd condone chasing here. If they're up a bit, maybe not. Bro, the spread's way tighter now. I'm not mad at these fills. I'm not telling you to pay it, but earlier it was $100 spread. Right now the spread's about 25 bucks. The bid's at 405, the ask is at 430. Is it more expensive now? Fuck yes, but it's still the same exact trade I issued earlier. You can wait, set your orders higher. Like, let's say the bid's at 415 right now, which it is. You're like, you know what? I don't want to get in at 415, but if they can fill me at the same prices I was willing to pay earlier, which would have been, let's say, 375, 380, 385, whatever, be like, I'll pay that price. So what you do is set your order at those prices that you are willing to pay or were willing to pay earlier. If you get filled, you get filled. If you don't, you don't. But that's theoretically what you want to do on that. But if you set the orders beforehand on any upticks, like I said, you're going to get filled. But if you're trying to set the orders after we start getting those downticks, it's going to be a lot harder, especially on a wide spread like this one. So I like to diversify. So like right now I see Rosana's comment, this one's up, this one's not, this one's up. So I personally like to put a little bit of money in different things, just because if you go all in on one, that one that you took maybe might not pay, and the other two that you were looking at do. So I like to diversify a little bit even when I'm day trading if possible. Yeah, the spreads aren't too bad on that one, honestly. I wouldn't be too mad if you can get in at these prices. Because again, it hasn't moved up much, about 50 bucks maybe. Yes, I get it, you would have much rather get in at whatever it was at earlier, but you're paying 50 bucks for the upside potential you have. It's not a terrible trade. And like I said, the spreads here are a lot wider, sorry, not wider, a lot tighter than they were earlier. About 20 bucks wide on the 250s, which is really good. Watch the bounces here across the board. Apple reclaiming that zone again, and SPY hasn't really reclaimed its level just yet, but like I said, anywhere above 532.50 is going to be dangerous for anyone who's currently bearish short term. Comments. We'll go on mute for like 2 minutes here. I'm gonna be here, but just gonna be a mute for a minute or two. So yeah, watch these levels here in case they do start breaking back above on Apple, SPY. AVGO did come a lot higher, so let's see what happens here. Do we manage to fade or come down? And like I said this morning, the dip on semis might have been potentially viable, which it has been delivered the upside targets of 175. And at this point, I'd be careful chasing here. You're much better off taking something like these names at the lows to the upside, which I'm not doing myself. I'd much rather wait and hope that we do get the breakdown and then leg lower. I'm still holding my shorts, so let's see what happens, but just be careful. Like I said, if we do get the breakout short term, the bearish comments are going to be invalidated. Alright, so still watching the action here. Again, two potential scenarios off these levels. One, you have the bounce Apple off these lows. Two, reversal off these highs on AVGO, which you're potentially seeing here. So let's see which one develops. Are we gonna see lower prices from these levels, or is Apple actually gonna deliver the breakout? So let's see what happens. Nothing to do in these ranges, at least not for me. If you want to try buying the dip here at these levels for potential breakout, that's your call. Not something I'm doing or something I do, to be honest with you guys. Can it work? Sure. Just rather not take that setup myself here. So look, my issue, which is a little complicated with TLT, theoretically, well, to answer your question, yes, I am long. But the issue I have with TLT is theoretically in times of, what can you call it? In times of turmoil, you know, when the markets have corrected, like let's go back to 2020. Whoops, let's just go to, whatever, I'll stick on a daily. This is 2020, right? You have a COVID crash around here, which you had this really weird reaction on TLT. Since then, we've been pushing lower and lower and lower and lower, right? But the market's been going higher and higher. Theoretically, the thesis is TLT should respond like the dollar and like UVXY. When the market comes down, it goes up. That is the thesis. The only problem I have, one, it has a lot of open gaps on the charts, so could be viable per that, as well as harmonic support, a lot of other things, right? Had this open gap here, closed it, bounced, whatever. The only problem I have is on a fundamental basis, we have to be aware of, you know, who buys their bonds in the current environment we are trading in. So realistically, what would happen if, you know, they, you know, sell all of the treasuries, the bonds, whatnot? TLT theoretically would not go up. So that's why I'm telling you guys, sure, in nature, when the markets come down, these are supposed to go up, but nothing confirms us they will go up, just because these are uncertain, you know, market environments. And again, if they do continue to sell TLT as they've been doing for the past couple of years, I don't know why they would buy it here. So they can, and it should theoretically, but just be mindful if they do start selling off more bonds, which they have been doing, maybe it does bounce. I don't know. Like I'm telling you, the technicals say yes, bounce, but the fundamentals and like the reality of things is if no one's buying bonds, you know, it's a tricky situation. But I'm still long on the trade, and it's a super small size for me, so nothing crazy. Throw size on that like you would do for UVXY calls. You know, you're not gonna go throw thousands on UVXY calls. You can have, you know, whatever you need for protection, small size. You want to buy shares of UVXE, that's cool. But I'm just saying, I'm not telling you to buy shares here. I'm just giving you guys ideas. That's kind of that type of a trade. So I don't have a lot of size on it, but I do think it has potential. And again, just be aware of a lot of the moving factors for TLT here. And Apple's still in that range. Let's see if it manages to break out here. AVGO down though, so interesting developments. Semi is down, and now Apple trying to come up. So which is it, down or up? Looks like they might try to break out here, not gonna lie. Let's see. What did Apple calls it? I'm not taking them, just kind of want to know what the price is at. Not too bad, not gonna lie. So if Apple does this, get this breakout, and anyone wants to scalp the Apple calls, it's not a terrible trade, not gonna lie. Super small size, just because we still have this potential problem of it breaking, back down below this levels and doing this. But if it does manage to hold above and give us the breakout, you can get potentially paid out okay on the calls. They're not charging too much where it's hard to make money on the call side. Let's see though. And then again, AVGO, small pullback, so we gotta see if this holds or is also gonna give a leg lower. If this is gonna give us a leg lower here, I really doubt Apple's gonna give us a bounce off these levels. Probably gonna end up pulling back, but let's see. So I haven't taken the Apple and I'm probably not gonna take it. It's just for anyone who thinks we're gonna bounce from here and wants to be bullish, that Apple looks okay for a scalp to the upside. But again, I'm gonna give it a few minutes, see what happens here, and then maybe I'll actually buy some for a small trade. Just not here. I'm not buying at the highs. Give it a couple minutes, let this develop, let a couple other things develop like gold on this pullback. And then if the levels allow, fuck yeah, I'll try to scalp the calls. But buying here, right at the top until wick fill, yeah, no, I'll give it a minute. How about gold 0 DTE? For what strike? He should have just went with Friday, not gonna lie, bro. I mean, not Friday, tomorrow. Tomorrow's contract, the 17th. Might as well get the extra day, but fuck it, it is what it is. What strike you got? You mentioned sending trades in Discord. I find you on simple stocks if you have a link or info. Let me see. I think it should be. Let me see if I can find it for you. Hold up. I know I have my link somewhere on my channel. Apple's getting that breakout here. Watch out. I mean, if you took the buys and you're long, I guess that's good for you, right? But if you were short, like I've been mentioning, careful of them reclaiming this level because they can send the markets higher. Apple SPY also trying to go for this breakout here. So if you did nibble on Apple calls or wanted to, that might be viable. I haven't done it myself, and I might just pass on the trade just because I'm scared of this potential pullback, which was obviously going to crush those calls. But the price on the calls here, if you wanted to buy like 197.5s or 200s, isn't too bad. Assuming you get this move higher, you'll get a nice payout. But again, remember where we started the day. The problem and the bearish trigger was up here. Which we've been under the entire day. So technically anything below here is bearish. Sure, this can be this can form a small support for this move back to those levels, but at the moment this is a higher time frame bearish setup, which makes me skeptical of entering here at the highs for a potential breakout on calls. If you entered at the lows, that's, you know, beautiful. You're probably paid here a little bit, but entering here myself, I'm gonna probably have to pass on that trade. And then you see AVGO, look, it looks like it wants to give us that leg lower. And like I said, if AVGO gives us a leg lower, I really doubt Apple's gonna run. So the setup looked good. I'm kind of happy I passed on it here. Let's see what happens next few minutes. But again, if you are bullish, careful if we start losing these levels. And if you're still holding on to any puts, you want to see us get back below these levels. AVGO give us a leg down. Gold maybe come down. TLT looks like it wants to start pushing above EQ, so let's see. I'll send you the link right now. My bad. Where do I have it at? Yeah, I have it. It's fine. How can I reply in here? Alright, I just sent the link. Let me know if that works. I hope it works. and then it's gonna put you on a wait list. It's not gonna immediately grant you access. I gotta go approve it. So just let me know when you get it done and I'll go check it out. Honestly guys, this breakout doesn't look bad. Let's clean it up a bit. So if we get the breakout from this level, right? Look at these wicks here. When was this? This is right at the open. I would not be surprised if we go back for these wicks. So the current setup on the Apple, current setup I see on Apple is you have this potential setup forming, breakout, which it looks like they're gonna try to do. Come back to this level we needed to hold above. Above there, you're gonna have this wick fill, which is obviously gonna pay you pretty nicely if you get long here and we get that breakout, right? And again, the only thing I don't like is you're entering at the top range into resistance, but if you do get that breakout, like I said, you have a pretty nice upside. Let's see what AVGO is doing. So small bounce on AVGO, that's okay. SPY still within range. So SPY can also do this. The tricky setup here, maybe not the best entry, but I think those calls might pay here. So just be careful of your short. That's a potential path here. And again, keep in mind, all of this is overhead resistance. Why? Because the true sell pressure came from here. Anything below there is still bearish on the higher time frame. All of this is going to be a test for the bulls. Then you have your test, first test here, and second test on that wick fill. On that wick fill, do they manage to stay above and break above? If they do, you can see a really nice move back up to the highs from Monday. Which again, I'm not saying that's gonna happen. I'm probably not gonna take the trade myself, but these are the levels. So this was the original setup we shared Monday. We said, hey, there's an open gap on Apple. We're gonna short. Well, I didn't short it, but it's gonna pull back all the way into those lows, which we did. Filled the gap. We are currently here. Lost that level, trying to bounce. If it reclaims this level, this was the original potential upside, which remains the potential upside. First targets are gonna be here, right? Which you guys just saw in the lower time frame. But if they do get above that and above outside of this box we discussed pre-market, you have this potential setup and maybe even this. So again, be super careful if you're forcing sales here at the lows, and like you're already getting paid on those calls if you took them. So keep it tactical on both sides. Right here, you're gonna have a little bit of overhead resistance into this level. So again, just be tactical on both sides if you're scalping. And then small bounce around AVGO. Let's see if it manages to roll over and come down, or it tries to break out towards the highs. And then SPY is now into that high from earlier that week. So does SPY break out above here? We're about to find out. That 532.50 level we discussed, we're testing it here. What I do? Y'all can't hear me? Or is that just you, Pilo? Let me know. You got me tripping now. Have I been muted? TLT coming down a little bit right here. Look at Apple pushing. Yeah, bro. Ramiro, I don't know why you're taking weeklies, bro. I get it, but that's not the thesis on T-Mobile. The thesis is a trade for earnings. If you want to short it here, it's cool, I guess, if you're scalping. But I don't think you are. So just careful with what you're doing. Make sure you understand the trade thesis, and that's not what I sent. So just be careful. I never said to buy weeklies. And I'm not saying you can't get paid taking your own trades. Just be mindful. It's a lot harder for that trade to work versus something out till May. And Apple did pay here on those calls if anyone took them. Let's see how much they're up. I didn't take them, but I'm sure they're up a bit. Yeah, you'd be up maybe over at least 20%, I want to say, on that, maybe even 30. So that would have been a cool little scalp right there. AVGO coming into the top range, so let's see, is it gonna roll over or not? And SPY is giving us that breakout here. Up to the 25th as well for T-Mobile. That's fine, but even the 25th isn't the trade I issued. All right, tell me, how much did you pay for the one for the 25th, and what strike did you get? What you pay and what strike? You guys here are for sure. No, I think you muted, bro. I'd be replying to different comments. So I'd be replying to comments in the Discord chat and then comments in the YouTube chat. So y'all probably not confused, like, who is he talking to? I replied to comments in the chat here and in Discord. But yeah, what strike do you have, Ramiro, and what did you pay? Because in my opinion, you're probably better off just paying the extra time, because the week of 25th, that's not terrible, $200. But think about it. When I shared the, one thing I will say is you're a lot higher, so that's fine, I guess. Alright, I'm fine with that one just because you got a decent strike. That's not a bad trade. Wait, no, bro, that's a 417. That's I was like, oh, it's fine, but no, bro, that's not 25th. Do you have another trade, or is that the one you were talking about? Because that expires tomorrow. I was like, damn, that's not bad for the 25th, but no, that makes sense. That's for tomorrow. Let me know, Ramiro, is that the only one you have then? All right, so AVGO, let's see, trying to pull that right shoulder here. So leg lower versus breakdown in play. And then Apple is getting rejected off of these highs here. So let's see. And then SPY at that 532.50 level we've been discussing. If it gets below 532.50, stays below, bears are going to be okay, I'd assume. But if they do manage to get above, stay above, again, be careful if you're short. Nice slow pullbacks here across the board though. AVGO, Apple, SPY, Netflix, McDonald's, Gold, T-Mobile. Yeah, that's ridiculous, bro. All right, one, good luck. That's not terrible, I guess, but look at how much you're paying, and it covers less time. In my opinion, I would have rathered you grab the maze I told you, even though you're a little further out the money. If you're comfortable paying $700 a contract, just go up a strike. You don't have to buy the one I said. The reason I said that one is because the one that is the most feasible and best bang for your buck. But if you're paying $700 for that contract, in my opinion, you would have been better off getting a tiny bit lower strike, but grabbing all that time to May. That time's gonna take you a long way, and it's gonna help you out. Like, you don't have to really be stressed in intraday. This one, you have time, but keep in mind earnings is on the 24th, so you're pretty much assuming you were gonna plan to hold until earnings. You're gonna have 1 day left to expiration, by earnings on the clock for that contract. Versus if you loaded the May 16s, by the time earnings come around next week, you still got 2 whole weeks on the clock after that week. So it's not as going to impact you as big after ER. If it's a dud or IV flushes or anything like that, at least you still got time on the clock to hold your contracts for 2 weeks. If it pays, it pays. But my point is, assuming, again, you're going to plan to hold it until then, if we don't get paid out rather quickly from here till then, you're probably going to get hit on the premiums on those, I'm assuming. But I don't know. Just like I said, The easier trade was Bay, but fuck it, not terrible. I'm not mad at those. Just like I said, you need to get paid fast. Versus the maze, you got time to get paid. So if you don't start getting paid here fast, you know, consider managing in the next coming days or whatever. And let's see what AVGO does here to see if we can come down. And I'm telling you, like, the trades I issue or send, it's because that's what I go through the chain, I look at different contract prices, I see weeklies or bi-weeklies that are expensive as fuck. I'm not gonna tell you guys to go buy that. I'm gonna tell you guys to put something that isn't as expensive that can take you a long way. Like I said, those $700 you paid for that contract, that's cool, you can get paid, but you could have maybe been better off buying 2 of the swings for around the same initial entry. Take short term, that's fine if you guys are taking short terms. Just the short term trades you got to be a lot faster with versus the swings. Once you guys start learning how to take the swings, you can still make big bags. Like ask Pilo, bro, trust. Like after you do it a few times, you're like, oh yeah, fuck that, swings are the move, because it's easier and you can still get paid out fat. Maybe yeah, you're not gonna make 500% in a day, but when the swings hit, you're gonna make a couple 100% for sure. So in my opinion, it's easier to grow an account like that. SPY testing that 532.50 here again. Let's see what happens next few minutes. 421 and 416 is okay, but yeah, like I said, the move is generally the swings. You can scale in and out if necessary. That's fire. See, no, you're not over the swing though, because you're in both. You got yourself in both trades, so that's cool. You got the short time exposure to GLD, which is a lot more liquid, cleaner levels on a shorter time frame, so I'm cool with that. And you also got your hand in the T-Mobile cookie jar, so you diversified in both ways across different assets and across time, because you have a longer time frame trade to hold you down and a shorter time frame trade to hold you down for any potential downside today or the next coming days. So that's cool. I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all. Keeping it a book, that's solid. But if you would have said, hey, I only bought scalps and I didn't get no swings, then you fucking up. But if you got a little bit of both, then cool. Did you get the what'd you end up getting filled at, bro? You got the ones I sent for T-Mobile, or you picked a different one? Look at GLD, good suit. I need under 304 though. That's where I really start getting paid out a bit. And then Apple, let's see if we can get under these levels. And then AVGO might actually give us that right shoulder here. Let's see if it manages to trigger below. Cause it's like a pimple, yeah, bro. Nah, that shit ain't a pimple, it's a volcano, bro. It's about to melt. All the gold about to... Facts. Gold contracts get rolled on Wednesdays. Contracts expire. So, and I'm not talking about GOD, I'm talking about in general, like OPEX. So, assuming a lot of people who were long are going to roll here, I'm assuming if they, no, not assuming, I wonder if they roll these into sells, which would be crazy. And I'm not saying like retail, I mean institutions who created this. AVGO, look at the bounce off that level and needed to lose. So it might be a wrap here for the bears. Short-term comments. Let's see what happens next few minutes, but yeah, it might be a wrap. Unless the bears really like step up right here, the bulls might have just done it. Green 2%, fucking not bad. I was a swing, you'll be straight. NVIDIA down 7.5. Is that a question or a comment, William? Do you want commentary on NVIDIA? Look at that bounce on EVGO off that level. Yeah, so they failed to trigger downside once they got that bounce here. NVIDIA is still... I'm telling you guys, it's hard for me to get long on semis here, especially on this pattern with Success doing. Yeah, this is really hard for me to get long NVIDIA. Let me show you guys what I see visually. Let's clean this up a bit. I guess it's fine. You have this pattern here, right? Which is getting really tight. I would not do anything here. It is just as easy for it to do this as it is to do this. If you force me to bet right now, this is gonna break down. We already breached the lows, and if this takes these lows out, we're probably going to continue selling into these lows. How low? Who knows? We can go a lot lower. But for now, the previous day low is going to be your level to watch on NVIDIA, which is going to be around like 104.75-ish, let's say. But again, I would be very careful if you're a buyer of NVIDIA here at these levels, because we can fall a lot more. If you do want to be a buyer for a scalp higher, I like it maybe above 104.75, but you have to be super tactical. So something like this, right? But we have to be above that 104.75. As long as we're below, we're gonna do just that and continue to sell lower. So let's see what develops here. But again, not sure. Oh, comment. Oh yeah, NVIDIA's down quite a bit. But let's see what NVIDIA does here. Again, as long as we're below that 104.75, I would not be a buyer. Wait, did I say above or below? You guys get what I mean. I got confused, but I think below here, do not be a buyer. If we reclaim this and start forming support here, and you want to take the scalp for the upside here, different story. But at this moment, you could just watch maybe. Let's see what the rest of the market's doing. Did Apple bounce? Let's see. Looks like Apple's gonna get that next leg higher here. Let's see if they manage to do so. AVGO back at the lows. So ranges are getting really tight here. Let's see Apple. Is Apple gonna break down? SPY already kind of broke down a little bit. If we get below this level on EVGO, we're gonna get this leg we discussed earlier. So again, breach below this, we're coming down to maybe like 172.60 or 172.50 maybe. For what trade? You asking me? What's my stop? Yo, someone tell this man what my stop is. What trade you asking about though? T-Mobile? Nah, not gonna lie, bro. Depending on the trade, unless it's a fast tactical scalp, I'm not really putting stops on my trades. If it's like I said, something tactical, then yes, on scalps. But like that T-Mobile, it's a swing, bro. I'm not really tripping on the intraday price right here. Yeah, I don't really put stops on it, bro. What I do tell everyone, and I'm like, don't buy all in at once. If it's a swing, you always leave room to add. So the size depends on your account, but maximum, like I told you guys yesterday, let's say you want to do $1,000 on that trade, I would break it down into 3 parts. If you're on a smaller account, realistically it's going to be harder to do. You'd realistically do 2 sets instead of 3. So if you have the ability to break it down in 3 parts, that's cool. But if you're on a smaller account, like I said, sometimes all you can afford is 2 contracts. So break down your entries into 2 parts. T-Mobile, for example, I forgot what you said you paid, but let's say you paid $400, right? If in this case, yeah, but in general, so ads, no, yeah. So let's say you bought it for 400, whatever, I don't know, and then it goes down to $200, which I doubt. But let's say we're to go down to $200, then you could be like, oh fuck it, I could buy 2 more contracts for the same initial price of 400, and now I have 3 contracts in total. Something like that is cool, but generally I don't add to any swings unless I see 33% to at least 50% drawdown. Now, obviously, assuming if levels are still valid. If the trade is invalid, you just take it off. But if the levels are still valid and it's just, a timing issue, or you got squeezed for 1 day or something like that, because you entered 1 day early, premature, anything along those lines on a swing, and you can get in for 30% off, 50% off on your second set or third, then go for it. Yeah, in your case, 50% at second, yeah, that's not bad. You're not always going to get 50% though. That's why I say between 33 to 50. If you're using the rule of 3, that's where the 33 comes in. 33, 66, you do your ads, or 50. But in your case, since you're going to do 2 sets, yes, 50. But the rule is 33.50. So just be mindful. You might not always get the 50%, but you might see the 30. Let's see if Apple delivers the next higher here, the next leg higher. Let's move this over a bit. So this is what Apple might be brewing here if it manages to get back above 197.90-ish. It'll give us this breakout, and then 199.25 is the real problem area where we can actually break out from. So let's see. Nobody actually took longs on that, huh? And I'm telling you guys, we're still bearish below 199.25 on the higher time frame. So the lower time frame dips could be bought, but the real test is going to be up here into this level at 199.25. That's the level we've been watching all week. $33 ad, then if down, no. So you gotta pick. If you're doing third, 33.66, because you're doing a rule of 3. So for a rule of 3, you do 33 and 66. If you're doing 2, then you just add at the 50%. And like I said, it has to be assuming level still makes sense. You're not gonna see 66% drawdown on a swing. But if you were trying to swing something like weeklies or trying to scale in on 0 DTEs, you can see those numbers rather fast, if I'm being honest with you. So if I see a 0 DTE or a weekly trade that I still really like, levels are still really clean, and the first initial trade, just because it might have been not the best entry, is down a bit, and you can get a re-entry that aligns with your setups, trade is viable, good RR, whatever. Like I said, it's fine. You just don't want to be scaling into trades all the time. But you also definitely don't want to go all in on the first entry. Like I've told you guys, we're not perfect. Leave room to add and exit on every trade. If you're only buying 1 contract at a time, it's harder to manage and do that. If you have multiple contracts, it makes it easier to scale in and out of trades. You get better averages on the way in, better averages on the way out. Look at that bounce on gold here. AVGO testing that support again. Let's see if it manages to break down. Nice little breakdown on AVGO here. Let's see if we get our targets. I want to see a breakdown here on Apple. Apple did not break down with semis. Well, not necessarily semis, just AVGO. Wonder if NVIDIA broke down. Let's see. Yep, NVIDIA also coming down a bit here. So like I told you guys, if we don't get above that level, I'd be careful trying longs. But if they do reclaim levels and get above 104.75, then maybe we can see some upside pressure on semis. AVGO does not think so. There we go, nice little breakdown on Apple. Until we don't get back below 196.80, no major, developments for the bears, to be honest with you guys. I'm not too interested in any of the action within this range until we manage to break out for real or come down into new lows. It's not really going to benefit me, so let's see what it does in this range. AVGO, okay. Look at TLT pushing higher here. Moment of truth here. Do they manage to hold into this yellow zone, or are they about to go breach the lows? Alright, now I'm not too upset I didn't take those calls. But they did deliver for sure over 30%. I know that because I checked them somewhere here. They were up like 20-30, so they probably went over that. But like I told you guys, whoever was on the stream Sunday on timing your trades, this was well over your whole time for a scalp. This is probably about, let's do it real quick. For whoever wasn't there on Sunday, assuming you entered on these lows, this could have been your first candle, second, third, whoops, this looks so ugly, fourth here. And then if you enter another scalp, first, second, third, and then fourth here. So again, one trade from here to here, second trade from here to here. This looks so ugly. But yeah, definitely if you got long anywhere into these lows and you held all the way into these highs and didn't take profits, that's a mistake. In my opinion, if you're scalping within 12 minutes generally or less, you want to manage your trades, you can always take another scalp. What I mean by manage, I don't mean exit everything. You can manage in multiple ways depending on the trades you took, whether it's trailing your stops, putting your stops at break even, taking partials. So again, each trade and account dependent, it's dependent on every trade and account and all that, but general rule of thumb, that's what I want to do after every 12 minutes. If you're scalping, take another scalp, take another scalp, be fast. If you're swinging, that's a whole different conversation. For scalps, generally you get rewarded if you're fast. I want to see what happens here on VGO. Do we stay below this level or are we going to reclaim it? And then Apple, potential bounce here from the top of this zone. So Apple, sorry, not Apple, SPY breaking out. Next few 3 minutes maybe are gonna be critical here. Gold's gonna make a high. It can and still be valid on the short. So if you see the setup, one, it hasn't made a high, but if it does, which it kind of already did here. Remember when I told you guys I got filled on the sweep of the highs? This was the high, right? I had pending orders on the forex side. So in futures or forex, something you can do is you can put pending buy orders, pending sell orders. So I had pending sell orders here at the high. When we did this, it filled my orders. So I'm short from this level. As long as we respect these highs, I'm gonna hold my shorts, and theoretically we can do this. Can we squeeze higher and make a new high? Sure, but that doesn't necessarily invalidate the trade. Can you get out or exit? Sure, but per this specific setup here, the flag is squeezing higher, right? So we can squeeze a tiny bit higher into like the 16180 if they really wanted to, and the setups to the downside would still be valid. So just be mindful. Doesn't mean you have to hold on to your puts if we do squeeze into these levels, but something like that could happen and still be a valid short. This man. Oh yeah, nice slow candles right here, but we'll see. Again, a push to 306 before settling is possible, and it'd still be bearish. Let's see what Apple does here. And then AVGO is actually rejecting off of the bottom of that level that used to be support, now forward resistance. Let's see if it stays that way and we manage to push lower. Hey bro, say gold gonna make a new high one more time so we could drop another dollar. Market makers are listening. Everybody type in gold to new highs. Type in the chat like 10 times. Watch, we'll drop like another dollar real quick. Moment of truth here. My sand timer that I flipped 3 minutes ago is about to go out. I'm gonna flip it one more time because we still have not gotten our direction. But again, this is getting pretty tight here across the board. SPY is above that 532.50. That is something to note. So look at the levels we opened at. SPY. This is right around open, right? So SPY is back above the open or back around open. This is where we opened on Apple. We're well below the open on Apple. So something to note here. AVGO, new lows, come on. And then nice low bounce on gold. Let's see if we could reach 304.60 and put in new lows after this. Let's see what volume came in today. Let's see. Yikes. You have a lot of put volume. Don't like that. So based off the options flow, SPY definitely not the best short. NVIDIA, not the best short, but a little better than SPY. GLD is not a terrible short per the options. Not the best, but not terrible. Looks a lot better than SPY and NVIDIA. So what I'm looking at, let's show you guys real quick, is your volumes. So anytime you have more, one thing I want to make clear before I make any comments is you don't know what side it was traded on. You don't know if this volume was sold or bought, right? So just be mindful of that. This is just total net volume transacted. So anytime you have more on one side than the other, you generally don't want to be on that side. So put notional, you have 485 million versus 255 million on SPY. So generally you don't want to be short, assuming those are bought, not sold. And you just go down, and anytime you see one side that has a lot more than the other, like you know, in the past when we shorted Nvidia when it was at all-time highs, you had call notional maybe about 6 times to 1 on the put notional. So anytime you see a huge discrepancy like that, you can try to take advantage of it. But right now it's kind of balanced, but more leaning on the put side, which generally isn't a good sign if you're trying to short. But again, you don't know if that's bought or sold. So let's see what happens here. But if I had to guess, I don't think they're going to send the markets lower, at least not in the short term. But let's see. So again, SPY above 532.50, which is the opening level, and Apple trying to reclaim and break out from these levels and go back to that 199.25 breakout we discussed. Who is short or who's in anything? So just be mindful if the markets do break out to the upside, which they haven't triggered. Just be mindful what puts you're holding. If it's like the swings I issued today, I'm not doing anything. You're okay to hold them. Even if we get squeezed for a tiny bit, they should be fine. If you rather just take them off and put them on back on later, that's fine. Just be aware you might not always get the opportunity. But the levels look okay. I'm not doing too much unless something drastic happens and we get out of these ranges. But for now, as long as we're below 199.25 on Apple, and you know, gold doesn't push to new highs, or you know, whatever, I think I'm okay with what I've issued, and probably gonna keep holding for now. If something changes, I'll let y'all know. But for now, the plan remains the same. If you're in gold, for sure. What date you got, Daniel? You got a short date too, huh? Right, everybody always be buying other shit. It's all good if you did, bro. I don't care. But 421 and the 425. That's cool. Fuck it. Bro, I also sent. Let me make sure before I even speak. Yes, bro. The first one I sent on the top of the list was the 516, then 425, then 421, then 416. That's fine. It is what it is. But preferably, I get it. A lot of y'all can't afford the 516. Fuck it. But yeah, generally y'all wanna grab more time, especially on a swing like this one. T-Mobile, Gold, TLT, Gold being 0 DTE, and 421. So gold, I don't know what strike you have, but if we don't get the breakdown here across the market soon, you might just want to book that one. Fuck it. Yeah, I was about to say, yeah, not a bad idea. If we break down from here across the board, then fuck it, you might get paid out. But again, I don't know what strike you have. Look at that push on gold here, sheesh. TLT pushing 2. Alright, I'm gonna go on mute for like 5 minutes real quick. I'm gonna leave the screen on, watch these levels. Be mindful of SPY again, above breakout levels. And if they hold above that 532.50, they can potentially push higher, which would look something like this, right? Apple trying to hold, AVGO trying to come down. So you have a little bit of some conflicting patterns here, but theoretically, the thesis remains the same. If they push higher, you don't want to be short, and if they do break down, you're okay to sit on those sells. So keep it tactical. Anywhere back above outside of this box, the bulls might try to take over. I'll be right back, guys. Alright, I'm back, yeah. So we got that breakout slightly, put in a higher high on Apple. SPY zone that really ran quite a bit. One good thing for the bears is we're still below key levels of that 199.25. But this is definitely a squeeze if you're trading something like a 0 DTE and you were on the short side and you did not flip at these lows. You definitely got squeezed here. So just be mindful. If you are still short, that's fine. But if at any moment Apple does get above 199.25 and stay above, I think that's going to be a invalidation point on the higher time frame, where you might want to consider just getting out, putting them back on later, or doing something to manage those trades. For now, it's still okay, but yeah, just keep in mind, like I said, that 199.25 above there definitely validates on the higher time frame. And if you missed, actually, no, not yet. So Abbott apparently had earnings. It looks like a really clean sell from these levels. I'm not taking it myself, but yeah, a really big pop on earnings. Okay, maybe not really big pop, maybe like 6%. But doesn't look terrible for a sell. Fast hands, maybe let's see what those premiums are going for. There's gonna be a scalp, so if anyone's looking for a trade here that hasn't taken a trade, if the premiums make sense, let me see. 38%, not too bad. I might nibble one. I might buy a weekly 133 put here. Let's see if they feel me. Yes. Slightly widespread, about 20 bucks. Bid on the let's see. I don't even have it up here. I just realized I was looking at it on another screen. So Abbott's up, right, on this pop from earnings. I'm saying the thesis is short it here tactically up here with the 133 strike. Maybe they're less than 100 bucks, and any drop below these levels is going to pay you. And again, it's tactical, meaning any fast drop you want to take profits. And we're currently up here, so Abbott 133 weekly puts, not terrible for a fast scalp below these levels, but you also have other names you can take if you don't want to take necessarily this one. Just anything still at the highs is viable, or at highs. Like T-Mobile, I think it's still okay. The only reason I don't like it is because it has gaps above, so maybe wait on that one, up to you. So T-Mobile, let me show you what I'm talking about on T-Mobile. So you see the zone up here? Not saying we have to go up there, but if you're not short already, maybe try to short into this if we get there for a drop lower. But technically, as long as we're under 266, it's a sell. We're still we're testing EQ. If we lose below EQ, that could be a tactical sell as well. Just a lot harder to trade T-Mobile since spreads are much wider, but your call. See, do they feel me? They did. They're already up a tiny bit. Apple, nice reversal. Need SPY back below 532.50 for me to be comfortable in any sells. As long as we're above that 532.50 on the lower time frames, the bulls still have that advantage. McDonald's looks okay here as well. Would have been better if he shorted at the highs, or obviously yesterday, or no, not yesterday. 2 days ago, no? When was it? No, it was yesterday. No. Gotta check my transaction history, but I think it was. No, I'm lying. Yeah, that was a Monday trade. The McDonald's short I put on was a Monday trade. Held it overnight into Tuesday. Yeah. See if SPY breaks down from here, but again, until we don't get back below that 532.50, I'm not too comfortable sitting on sells. And TLT's pushing higher here, about to break above 88. If it does make that breakout back towards above 88.20 and pushes higher above that, we can start to get paid out nicely. For gold or for what? For 21 what? I probably wouldn't exit here, but if you want to exit, go for it. So I'm assuming you put it on, I don't know, up here or somewhere, wherever. You could have gotten out earlier, probably green or break even or smaller loss. Getting out at the highs, in my opinion, is probably a mistake just because what if in the next couple minutes, we do get that pullback and you could have gotten out for a green or something. So if you want to get out here, that's fine. But like I said, I think it's a mistake. You might as well just sit a couple more minutes. You sat this entire thing through this, right? So let's say you sat an entire hour for this or more. Why not give it, 15 minutes, 3 minutes, couple more minutes, see if we can start pushing back down from these levels. And then if we do start breaking out, then fuck it, take it off. But my point is, if you waited this whole time and didn't rush to do anything down here, why are you going to rush to do something up here? It's fine, I get it, you're trying to be conservative, manage the trade, which is correct, but you need to do it on both sides. So up here, if you want to be a little patient in case we do get the pullback, that's fine. Your call. Alright, so one thing that had slipped my mind, we have TSM earnings tomorrow pre-market, which is gonna be pretty important, not gonna lie, especially for this area where we are trading currently on the other semis. It's gonna be pretty important. So I'll show you the daily. Because we're currently trading on TSM, right? You have NVIDIA, you have ABGO, which look a lot messier. Let's go to the TSM chart and overlay them. Alright, so we have, which is which? AVGO in red, NVIDIA in green, TSM obviously in black and green, the original overlay. So let's try to line this up properly. I don't think this is gonna work right. Yeah, I think it's gonna work better with the other one. Let me see. I just got an alert. Alright, hold on, let me see what's going on. Ooh, breakout on gold. There's that 306 we discussed. So whoever was here earlier, we said, hey, if we get that 306, the bearish setup is still valid, and you can take those sells. So that's that setup we're getting here. So the setup is still valid, assuming they respect that 306.40 high, and this is a clean entry for a tactical sell on gold for the faster trades. Let's see. I'll finish covering TSM right now. Just want to cover the action that's going on right now. Yeah, this might be a good sell for gold. Theoretically, the thesis is we can fall a bit more. I was trying to show you guys on the charts, which is not as clear as I wanted to show you. But what is this, AVGO? NVIDIA. Slightly higher than where TSM is, which doesn't look the best. That's not right. Yeah, so I don't want to, it's not lining up the way I wanted it to. Long story short, TSM is trading lower than where AVGO and NVIDIA are. So not sure how to feel about it. Either TSM is going to bring down AVGO and NVIDIA with it, or TSM can have a really nice pop and let those help those to the upside. So just be careful if you're in any semis overnight. Be mindful we have that tomorrow pre-market, which is definitely going to have an impact on semis. And then gold again, that was a tactical sell. If anyone wants to take a 0 DTE trade here, it's not bad for a scalp. Don't recommend it. You're better off taking swing, like I said, or even something for Monday or something. So TMS cook. You mean TSM? TSM is gonna have high IV because of earnings, so don't trade TSM. Anytime I want to take a ER play, usually I'll take it after earnings if there's an IV flush, or I'll take a sympathy play. This case, it's a semiconductor trade, so instead of taking TSM, you can take a trade via AVGO or NVIDIA or something else that doesn't have the high IV from earnings. But I'm not telling, confuse it, Timus. Oh no, well, I don't know which one you're talking about. Are you talking about T-Mobile or are you talking about TSM? TSM is a semiconductor. They have earnings pre-market tomorrow. And then T-Mobile, well, that's T-Mobile is T-Mobile. Nice little sales here. Watching gold here, I did take some scalps on that. I added to my forex position on that pot. Spy back into the level we broke out from, so let's see if it manages to retest, bounce, and go higher, or we give this level up at that 532.50 we've been watching all day. So that's a test here on Spy. Moment of truth. Couple ticks away before we test these lows and get our answer. What answer are we gonna bounce from here? That's all I care about next couple minutes. So you're always trying to guess. So can we go up 1,000,000 points? Can we drop 1,000,000 points? Instead of guessing how far, where, when, what the targets could be, just focus one level at a time. This 532.50 is what we've been trading around the entire day. Tactical below, short, tactical long above. Now back into that level. So same exact comments. Tactical at that level. They breach it, we're gonna get sells again. They hold it and bounce, they're gonna go higher. So you don't have to be fancy with a bunch of indicators and I don't know, levels and whatnot. Just that 532.50 is all we've been watching today. And as for Apple, that 190 99.25. Sure, we developed new levels along the way, but for now, what are we retesting? That same level we were holding earlier. Nothing crazy. Bounce from here, pushing higher, lose this level, we're going lower. That simple. And we knew that it was going to be hard to get over this. We mentioned that sure, this is possible, but the higher time frame shift isn't until above 199.25, which they failed to do. Now they're trying to hold the floor as support, see if they can get back to those highs. So if you're short, be mindful at these levels. If they do get the bounce, you're gonna get taken out and squeezed above here. So not a terrible exit here if you fail to get the breakdown. And look at Spy testing at 532.50. Let's see if they manage to get below and stay below. For now, we're above, so give it a few moments. I don't even want to see what Berkshire is at. I already got race 3, but fuck it. I mean, gang, you buying it here? What are you buying? Calls, puts? What you get? If you would have held it from yesterday, you know you would have been paid on that. I don't know how I feel about starting shorts on it here, but fuck it. Good luck, I guess. Have you checked the price of whatever you sold yesterday? Or not? I forgot what you said you had. Let's see gold here. Not really trying to see higher than this, not gonna lie. T-Mobile's not doing too crazy. I mean, it's coming down a bit here off these highs. The one I'm really interested in is SPY off that 532.50 and Apple off of this level here. You did 425, 130. Equal, just put in a new high. Hold up. Am I gonna have to cut this? I just saw your message, William. No, I didn't. I scalped the weeklies. It was a fast trade. It went immediately over like 20% or something. Still green, but it was a comment on the scalp levels I was seeing earlier. Not sure if it's still viable here. Apple test by test. A lot of tests across the board, even on gold. I'm telling you guys, any higher than this, I'm out this trade. It is what it is. I'll re-enter later. But I do have size on it, so I'm not really trying to get squeezed. And I have different trades on it. I have some forex trades, some swing trades, some scalp trades. But I'm gonna go on mute for like 2-3 minutes. Watch the bounces here. You have SPY test in that 532.50, like I said, Apple bottom range, and then gold. But I'm going to mute for like a minute or two. Manage some of these positions. My bad, I took a phone call, y'all. Still within levels. We got a nice little breakdown across the board, but Apple's back at that same support level where we broke out from earlier. So this could be a simple retest before heading higher, unless we manage to actually break below and stay below. SPY below the levels it had to be below, Netflix below. So the progress in the last few minutes has been decent, but I do want to see more south side pressure and stay below levels. So some more follow through here, because this is an area we can potentially still bounce from. So don't be too comfortable sitting in your trades just yet. Let's see what develops next few minutes. I don't really want to stick around too much longer. I'll stick around maybe 15-30 minutes, see if we do get the breakdown or bounce from these levels, and then the rest of the day I'll just if anyone needs some, you already know, just tap in the Discord. But from these levels, this is the next. Let's move this over. This is the area we can potentially do this and break back out from here. Let's move this over. That's exactly what we did this morning, right? So there's a potential setup from these levels versus the breakdown. Let's see what develops. Like I said, I'll stay here for the next few minutes to see if they're actually going to follow through to the upside or breakdown. And then after that resolves, I'm probably going to call it a day for myself. Alright, so we're getting breakdowns on some names, not on all, but T-Mobile, if you took that, you should be getting paid. Gold, hopefully we do start getting the breakdown from this level. If not, like I said, any higher, I might just call it on that myself. Apple, if we lose these lows, hopefully we can come test that wick low from this morning and potentially new lows. Berkshire doing okay. P-Lows 520 is about to be in the money if we breach 522 right here. And then T-Mobile looks okay. McDonald's, I want to see below 311.50 and maybe new lows. But it's not looking terrible for the bears right now. And then this is the range we could potentially bounce from. That's exactly what Apple might do here. Like I said, if you are in puts, this is an area you might want to consider managing into these lows. If you are in fast short-term trades or you scalped from the highs, anything along those lines. If you're holding swings, different story. And if anyone has any questions about anything, let me know right now, maybe before, so I'm trying to wrap up the stream here maybe within the next 15-30 minutes like I had mentioned. So if you're in any positions you need help managing, let me know here before I wrap it up. If not, hit me up in Discord. But yeah, still same scenario as I mentioned, potential bounce from these levels like earlier, or stay below levels and break below two new lows. That's the potential path here. If we break below, great, stay in the cells. If you do get the bounce, it's going to be time to maybe reconsider some of those trades. So I'm gonna stick around a few minutes, William. See how this resolves here. But yeah, thank you. I hope you have a good afternoon too. See what we get next couple minutes. But yeah, just want to see if anyone has any questions before then. I have not been there, William. Is that North Cal or South Cal? Because I stay in SoCal, near LA. But I'm not too sure where that is. I'm gonna have to Google it right now. Let me see. Oh yeah, it's a little more up north, a couple hours away from me. But I'm pretty sure it's nice up there, up anywhere towards Santa Barbara and all that. Pretty nice area. But no, I haven't been out there. Starting to get a tiny bit of selling on gold, nothing major. Definitely want to see gold back below 306. But the fact that we didn't put in a new high, I guess that's a start, right? So let's see what happens here in the next few minutes. But still pretty tight ranges across the board. Yo, my bad guys, I had to take care of something real quick, but I'm back. So what did my mouse die? Oh, there we go. Apple still within these ranges here. Bottom range, if they do break out above the upside, which is like, let's say 197.50, like I said, they're probably gonna go back above these highs and then go for the breakout. And SPY held the floor, gonna try to push back above that 532.50. GLD did push slightly higher than I wanted, but from here I want to see this path play out. Any new highs, like I said, probably want to take those trades off. But we're still within ranges, so not much to do. To be honest with you guys, I'm probably not going to stick around here. Just be careful, see how this range develops. Like I said, breach of the lows, you're heading lower, breach of the highs, you're going for that breakout. But within this box, I would not be doing too much myself. So just wait here, see what we get. Berkshire looks like it might try to give us a leg lower here potentially. But like I said, I'm not going to stick around here. Don't even know if you guys are still in here. Let's see. There's still a few people. But yeah, watch these ranges. Don't do much between these levels. If we get the breakout, like I said, be careful if you're short. We're probably going to go back to the highs, if not higher. And if you are short, you want to see the breach of this box. But just stay tactical within this box. Don't do too much here. Let's see, what did I miss? Any questions? Habit target. So technically the fast targets got delivered on Abbott. This was the fast trade I drew out. It played out perfectly, which I hadn't even looked at till here. If we breach below 131, that's the area that we can come down a bit, right? So this is what we're watching. If we lose 131, then you can come to here or maybe even lower. But for now, this was the fast short-term target I wanted. If the market does roll over, continue pushing lower, then sure, you can sit on Abbott, but this was the fast trade I drew out. And I took the 417s, by the way, for the scalp. It wasn't next week's, because I saw your comment on YouTube. But no, I didn't take next week's. If you want to hold it till next week and we drop below 131, that's fine. Look at Apple here trying to push back above. So again, be careful here. Watch which side of this range we break out to, but I'm probably just gonna go ahead and call it here myself. Go have breakfast and enjoy my day. So let me know if you guys got questions in the Discord. I'm probably gonna go ahead and end the stream here. And again, don't do much until we get out of these ranges here across the board. And then I'll send a couple updates in the chat based off levels in a bit after I eat breakfast. But like I said, between these ranges, I'm not doing anything. Okay. Not a normal guy. Cool. You made 30%, 15% on a call. Fuck it, I'll catch y'all. Looks like we're gonna break down though. Just keep an eye on stuff. But yeah, I'm gonna call it for myself right here. I already caught what I wanted, and not much to do here for myself. So again, just keep an eye on these. But yeah, if y'all got questions, hit me up in Discord. You see the levels. If For the most part, 532.50 is all I care about on SPY. We're well below that. Apple 199.25 level to watch for now, 197. But yeah, that's about it. So type in if you got something, questions about anything. If we do get the breakdown, our puts should do very good into the coming week, but we'll see. All right.